The condensed case against the White Helmets. White Helmets were started and largely trained not in Syria, but in Turkey and Jordan, by James Le Mesurier, a former British military intelligence officer who went on to become Vice President for Special Projects at the Olive Group, a private mercenary organisation that has since merged with Blackwater, or Academy, into what is now known as Constellis Holdings. White Helmets receive substantial funding from the United States, the United Kingdom, and the European Union, at least $150 million over 3 years, from the same parties that are supporting the rebels or terrorists. No political ties? White Helmets only ever operated in territory controlled by terrorist groups like Al-Nusra Front, ISIS, and Nur al-Din Zinki, notorious for filming themselves torturing and beheading a 12-year-old boy. When those groups are forced to move, the White Helmets move with them in the same buses as when they abandoned East Aleppo. The White Helmets leader, Raid Saleh, is tied to extremists, a fact acknowledged even by the State Department's Mark Toner. Saleh was actually deported from the US out of Dulles Airport in April 2016, with no reason being disclosed. He is a close colleague of Mustafa al-Hajj Youssef, another White Helmets leader whose social media accounts show him openly declaring allegiance to Ahrar al-Sham, calling for unity with al-Nusra, advocating the shelling and execution of civilians, and other equally charming practices. Actually, a recent survey of social media activity carried out by the Syrian War blog has conservatively identified 65 White Helmet operatives who have professed their membership of or alliance with extremist groups like Ahrar al-Sham and al-Nusra Front. The White Helmet Group in East Aleppo was established by the president of the UK-funded East Aleppo Council, Abdulaziz Maghrabi, often photographed with, offering support for, and maintaining active militant membership with terrorist groups Abu Amara and al-Nusra Front. White Helmets in Idlib were photographed taking part in demonstrations and calling for the burning and destruction of the towns Kafraya and Fu'a, which resisted occupation by the terrorists and suffered a siege that deprived their citizens of food, water, and medicine, in addition to attacks that killed some 1,300 residents. White Helmets also participated in luring children evacuated from these towns off their buses to their deaths by a truck bomb in an event known as the Rashidin Massacre. Muawiyah Hassan Agha was present at Rashidin, and he later became infamous for his involvement in the execution of 2 prisoners of war in Aleppo. For this rogue bad appleness, he was supposedly fired from the White Helmets, although he was later photographed still with them. He has also been photographed celebrating victory with al-Nusra Front in Idlib. There have been at least 3 other executions on video that show White Helmet involvement, not just being present and immediately cleaning up, but celebrating, mistreating bodies, and otherwise not acting in a manner consistent with being a neutral humanitarian group. Videos show White Helmets participating in al-Nusra Front operations, for example, joining in the beating and encirclement of a Syrian civilian, thoroughly mingling in with heavily armed al-Nusra terrorists. The main White Helmet centre in East Aleppo was integrated into the al-Nusra Front compound and was adorned with a variety of graffiti and flags affirming the White Helmet affiliation to various terrorist groups, but predominantly al-Nusra Front. Numerous civilian witnesses from Aleppo were unfamiliar with the term White Helmets, but knew the group as the Al-Nusra Front Civil Defense and reported its participation in executions and atrocities. On multiple occasions, the White Helmets have been exposed staging rescue scenes for both photo and video, recycling images in multiple propaganda pieces. Swedish Doctors for Human Rights analysed a White Helmets video report and concluded, quote, "The measures inflicted upon those children, some of them lifeless, are bizarre, non-medical, non-life-saving, and even counterproductive in terms of life-saving purposes, including measures that would have resulted in the death of the child, if not already dead." End quote. The implication is that the White Helmets may have actually killed children and/or were using already dead children as propaganda props. The White Helmets have been filmed describing Syrian Arab army bodies as trash, and one particular video shows them flashing V signs while standing on bodies of Syrian soldiers piled onto a truck. Many photos show White Helmet operatives carrying arms or posing, armed, with rebel groups, including Al-Nusra Front. At least one of them, Mo'ad Barish, who was killed fighting against the Syrian army, was an active rebel or terrorist, while also a member of the White Helmets. The White Helmets claim to have saved over 90,000 lives, but there is zero documentation of these lives. No names, no records of any kind. The White Helmets' critics cannot be described or dismissed as comprising only fringe voices. Eminent prize-winning journalist and filmmaker John Pilger described the White Helmets as a complete propaganda construct.